What's up guys, Merciless Vaughn here, back with another video, and in this video we're going to be doing a continuation of my new player guide to the Elder Scrolls Online. Please note that I am not the best at this game. I still have lots to learn. The only thing I can do is just give you some tips and tricks of the knowledge I have of this game and some things that you can do while leveling. So without wasting any more time, let's just go ahead and get into it. Also, if you find these tips and tricks helpful, please leave a like on the video, and if you're new to the channel or you've been here for a while, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to know when I upload again, all you gotta do is just turn the notification bell. Alright, so here we are back in Volkogard in Auradon. I completed Knarthi's Roost, but if you are with the Aldemary Dominion, then this is where you'll start off with. If you picked another alliance, you'll start off elsewhere. I suggest before you actually leave that starting area, you just go around and complete the area. As you can see on the left side of the map, I completed all the story quests, all the way shrines collected, points of interest, and all the Skyshards. And I'll get into Skyshards a little later. So yeah. So that's just something I suggest you doing. Since there are 6 here, that's a few skill points that you can get before you just come to the next area here. And the reason we're in this next area is because we are going to look at crafting and morphs and ultimates. So here you just come to consumable crafting rates, and then you just go along with the quest, really. I know it says choose or complete one, but don't worry about it. You'll end up just completing both of them. So you can just pick whichever one you want to start off with first. And for this one, I started off with the crafting certifications for blacksmithing, clothing, and woodworking, I believe, for this one.
Let me know if you have some time. I can
Yep, blacksmith, woodworking, and clother. So you just go ahead and complete these and then go on to the next one, which is in the Mage's Guild, and that will help you with enchanting and potions. Also, please be aware that if you don't have the resources needed to make the items for the quest, it will make you go out into the world to collect those items. So just make note of that. So if you already haven't done any exploring while in the starting area to collect some resources, then here it will make you go out and collect resources for these quests. And when you're done with that certification, you just go to the Mage's Guild, find this guy, and he'll give you the certifications for provisioning, enchanting, and alchemy. And then for this one, you just pretty much do the same thing for the first one. If you don't have the resources for this, it will make you go out into the world and find them in order to complete these quests. Also, if you do have to go out into the world, don't forget to visit a stable master to upgrade your riding speed skill. It will help you later on when you get a horse so your horse can go faster. For the enchanting certification, it might not tell you which runes you need, but the runes you are going to need are the 3 that you see on the screen now. As you can see, I just created the glyph needed to turn into the certification quest giver. And same thing with the alchemy. These are the resources that you can use to create the sip of health potion that you see on screen. And when you're done completing the certification for that one, right next there is a jewelry crafting station. Be sure to interact with it because there is no certification quest for the jewelry that I am aware of, so just interact with it and you should be able to just unlock the skill line for that. And if you have any extra jewelry you don't need, you can just deconstruct it there. Alright, and after all of that, you should have the alchemy, blacksmithing, clothing, enchanting, provisioning, and woodworking skill lines from doing those quests. Jewelry crafting, there isn't a quest for this. If you just go up to a jewelry station like I did earlier and just, if you have any jewelry that you can deconstruct, just go ahead and do that and you should unlock it. Or just walking up to the table and interacting with it should also get you the skill line. But pretty much as you did during the certification missions, and if you actually listen to the NPCs of what these do, you should have a pretty decent idea. Alchemy is used for potions, blacksmithing for heavy armor and weapons, clothing is for medium and light armor, enchanting is for enchants that you can put on your gear and weapons, jewelry crafting is the crafting for your jewelry. Provisioning is for food, drinks. Woodworking is for bows, shields, and staffs. Deconstructing bows or destruction staff, restoration staffs will level up woodworking. Deconstructing jewelry will level up the jewelry. Deconstructing enchants that you find in the world will level enchanting. Deconstructing medium and light armor will level up clothing. Heavy armor and weapons that use metal will level this up. To level up alchemy, provision, you will have to find recipes out in the world and cook them in order to level up. Alchemy, you would need to make potions to level this up. These will take the longest time to level up just because it requires a lot of resources just to level up. So do keep that in mind. Alright, so while you're questing and gaining a lot of skill points and collecting Sky Shards are those crystals that shoot out a beam of light. Collect 3 of those, you get 1 skill point. So yeah, just keep an eye out for them. I'll leave a link in the description to a website that shows you the locations of Sky Shards. So yeah, while you're collecting skill points, I won't go into these passives in detail. You can kind of just skim over them and kind of read what they do, but you will want to put your skill points into this one. This helps you create higher potions. This one increases duration. This one allows you to craft more potions. And this one allows you to use more plants to make stronger ones. And blacksmithing, you will want to level up this one. And this one, this just helps you see resources the closer you are to them. So if you want to get that one, you can. This passive ability, this has an NPC collect resources for you when you log out. So if you want to level up this one, you can. This is really helpful. And that way you won't have to get the resources yourself. This one, when you deconstruct items, it'll help you get more resources. This one is for traits, which reduces the time it takes to research them and also allows you to research more than one trait at a time. And this one just helps improve the chances of increasing the quality of your gear. And that's pretty much the same for clothing, jewelry, and woodworking. Provisioning and enchanting, you will want to just make sure these are leveled up. You can get the hiring and the extraction, which increases the chances of getting more rune stones. These 2 passes right here, this first one just helps you make higher level glyphs, and this one just allows you to make higher quality glyphs. And provisioning, this is pretty much the same thing as enchanting. This allows you to make higher level recipes, while this allows you to make better quality recipes. And this passive these 2 just adds the duration of foods and drinks. This one allows you to make more foods or drinks. And this one is the hireling as well, which just gives you resources while you're offline. And another thing about these crafting skill lines that there are traits that you have to research. Traits, you can just basically think of those as passives for your weapons and armor. Armor have their own traits and so do weapons. We'll take a look at the weapon traits actually, but first here are the armor traits. I'm not going to really go into detail. You can just kind of pause the video and see what they do. And if we go to look at some weapon traits, here are the traits for weapons. Now, the reason you want to research these early on is because they will help you out later in the game. When you have these crafting skill lines maxed out, you will want to be able to craft gear with these traits depending on what you want to do. If you want to heal, tank, or DPS, you will need some of these traits for your weapons and armor. And also, there are gear sets in this game that require a certain amount of traits researched in order for you to craft them. So yeah, it's really important to have these researched early on. So the sooner you get these traits researched, the sooner you won't have to wait to craft gear later on. And alright, since doing those crafting certifications quests got me to level 10, I'm going to talk about dungeons, a little bit about Cyrodiil, and talk about the morphs and skills of ultimates. So first, I'm going to just go ahead and talk about the skills and morphs and ultimates. Since I'm a magic DPS, I'm going to put your attribute points into magicka. If you're stamina, you put them into stamina. And skills, morphs, and ultimates. Here I kind of leveled up some and I already morphed some of these skills. Let's look at the destruction staffs tree. Here you see these 3 dots on the left side of a skill, force shock. This ability is now able to morph for 1 skill point. And as you can see, it costs 1 skill point to morph abilities, and we have crushing shock and force pulse. And these two have different effects. So basically morphing is just adding new effects to the ability. And so yeah, force shock, I can either morph it into crushing shock or force pulse. This one is really good. If you want to use it, you can, but I know this one's really heavily used in PvP, but since I don't PvP, I usually just go with force pulse. And since I like force pulse, I'm just going to go ahead and morph this force shock ability into force pulse and put it on my bar. And then in some scenarios, depending on the class that you are, some abilities are able to be morphed into stamina abilities. For example, this second ability in my animal companion tree. If I was a stamina DPS, I would want to morph this into the stamina one. But since I'm Magicka, I'm just going to go ahead and morph this into the Magicka ability. So just go ahead and do that in there. I added a new effect to the skill that I used. And now that we went into a little quick dive about morphs, we're going to talk about ultimates. Your class ability skill lines and weapon skill lines also have ultimate abilities. As you can see, there's an ultimate ability for the destruction staff, dual wield, and one hand and shield. And then I have my Winter's Embrace, Green Balance, and Animal Companions. Ultimates abilities are the abilities that just go into this 6 slot on your bar, and basically these just help you out depending on whatever you do. This one is good for DPS. I just pretty much summon this bear right here. Yeah, pretty much I gain ultimate meter, as you can see at the bottom, that 500 mark. That's just the ultimate gauge. And then you just basically, once you get to a certain amount of ultimate gauge, you get to use your ultimate. That's pretty much what ultimates are. Alright, so upon reaching level 10, you get this activity finder. Here you're able to go into battlegrounds, which is PvP, player versus player, or dungeons, which is just PvE, player versus environment. And this is where you just basically do this. Every day you get daily bonus rewards, so you get XP and some undaunted supplies. Undaunted supplies like crystals, transmutation crystals, which is used to reroll gear. You'll reroll gear later on in the end game. You get a decent amount of XP and you get some weapons and armor. So this is something that you will want to do every day. Doing these random dungeons will also put you in dungeons that you haven't done before. So doing dungeons that you haven't done before will give you a quest, and upon completing those quests you'll get even more XP and you'll get a skill point for completing the dungeon, also some gear. So really you have multiple chances to level up multiple times when you do these daily dungeons. Once from the daily dungeon bonus, that has a chance to level you up if you're low enough, and also the dungeon quest also will help you level up if you haven't done that dungeon before, and also get a skill point. Alright, also when you get to level 10 you get to go into Cyrodiil. This is Cyrodiil. Basically this is the giant center of the map where you just basically, it's a giant map where players PvP, capture keeps, just go do whatever they want really here. You get to participate in sieges, capture these Elder Scrolls that you see. There's an Elder Scroll at that keep, at that keep, that keep, and that keep. And this side is the Aldemary Dominion, this is the Evanhart Pack side, and this is the Daggerfall Covenant. You can tell by the colors, and their symbols are also right there as well. So if you are into PvP, you can come here and do it if you want, but really we're here just to do this first quest. If you do this quest, you'll just unlock a couple skill lines, the assault line, the support skill line. I already done this because one of the login rewards was some Alliance XP points, and I just so happened to be on this character when I logged in and get that. But even if you don't plan on PvP, you should at least do the quest for Cyrodiil, because you'll unlock these skill lines, you'll get a couple skill points, and you get closer to unlocking this passive. We're not really worried about the first part of the passive, but the second part, you gain major gallop at all times, increasing your mount speed by 30%. You just want to put one skill point into that. That will help your mount speed increase. But the only thing is, you will have to unlock it at assault level 3. So basically just do PvP to get this to level 3, and also just to get that extra movement speed for your mount. So yeah, you can just go ahead and do that quest real quick, and then you'll get 2 skill points for completing it, so you can just put those 2 skill points into whatever you want. Alright, after completing the training, you should unlock these 2 skill lines. I just go ahead and did it anyway, and I just so happened to get these skill lines level 3, and I ended up getting 1 skill point, so I'm just going to go ahead and unlock this passive. Now, I won't ever do PvP again on this character unless I do it for a video or something. So pretty much after that, you can just go ahead and leave by using the way shrine back here, or if you want, you can actually go out into the world and do some PvP stuff if you want. Alright, so that's pretty much it for this video. Those are just some more things you should do early on before you really start leveling and heading out into the world. Now you just pretty much complete the zone that you're in. Since I'm in Oradon, I'll just complete these zones, collect all the Skyshards, and move on to the next. The next video will probably be about level 15 when you get to unlock your second bar, so I'll do a video on that just to kind of explain it and go into it more detail. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Just to recap, I went over the PvP, just Cyrodiil, and just completing the starting quest for that, unlocking some skill points, and I managed to get this unlocked, which increases the movement speed of my mounts. We got our crafting certifications done and got the crafting skill lines. I talked about morphs. I morphed this skill into force pulse, and then I also morphed this skill as well. And then I morphed a couple abilities in this tree as well. Talked about ultimates, and then the ultimate gauge meter. When you get a certain ultimate, you get to use it. I also talked about researching traits. Make sure you research the traits so you won't have to do it later on. It'll help you out when you get to the end game. And that's pretty much it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like. If you're new to the channel or you've been here for a while, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And if you want to know when I upload again, just turn the notification bell. And as usual, until next time.